I'm Peter Moon from Cooper Mills Lawyers, and I also write the Hands-on Technology column for the Australian Financial Review. Cloud computing is changing the way we access technology, so I hope you find this 5-minute introduction useful. The cloud is probably the biggest technology buzzword of the last 10 years, but what is it? Where is it? Why would you use it? And is it secure? These are all good questions, and we're going to explore them for the next 5 minutes. First things first, what is the cloud? Well, if you have an internet connection, you can connect with computers around the world that let you upload and store your own computer data, like a giant hard drive. You might have heard of the file storage service called Dropbox. Download and use data like music and movies. Maybe you know iTunes, which plays music and videos and educational content. You can even operate computer programs that aren't even installed on your own computer. They're running on a remote machine that you can control over the internet. The practice management program that my office uses actually runs on server computers in New Zealand. We access and control it through a web browser. When people use these computers on the internet to do things that they used to do using their own home or office computers, like storing files or running software programs, we call that cloud computing. Even though the internet is very young, it still has some traditions. Almost from the start, when network designers wanted to pictorially refer to all those boxes and wires and other stuff that makes up the internet, they depicted it like this. The cloud represents the internet. So, when people started to use the internet cloud as if it was a big computer, they started calling it cloud computing. It could just as easily be called internet computing. Most of the services that we think of as cloud computing are supplied from large, highly secure buildings that are full of high-powered computers with very fast connections to the internet. You'll hear these places described as data centers or server farms. When you save a file to your Dropbox service or play music from iTunes, the data is going to or coming from one of these buildings. The very best data centers even use buildings in several locations, and they back up from one to the other. That way, even if a catastrophe strikes one location, no data or productivity is lost. Well, there can be lots of reasons. For a start, it's a form of outsourcing. For instance, if you store your data on a local hard drive, you need to back it up or risk losing it. If you store it in a cloud service, that's done for you. Second, it can save on capital expenditure. Instead of buying powerful equipment to run all your own software, you might buy cheaper equipment and pay a few dollars a month to make remote use of a cloud service provider's facilities. Third, it can be more secure. You can't have a team of virus and security experts on call at your offices, but a major cloud provider can. Fourth, service providers increasingly offer their services as cloud services only. For one thing, that helps prevent software piracy, because their software only runs on server computers that they control. If you don't pay your access fees, they can simply lock you out. Now, there's much more to it, but those are some of the reasons why cloud computing has become so popular. Before we can answer this question, we need to remember that there's no such thing as standard cloud computing. There are big cloud companies and smaller ones. There are experienced operators and startups. There are gold-plated products and budget ones. Asking whether cloud computing is secure is quite like asking whether aviation is safe. Most of us would say, well, it depends on what plane, what airline, what pilot, and what situation you're talking about. The decision to use cloud computing should always be based on intelligent due diligence. Consider things like how sensitive any data you're uploading really is. And if many people thought about comparative risk, they'd realise that whether or not a cloud storage service is perfectly secure, it could be a whole lot safer than trying to protect the same data from viruses and hackers and equipment failure by yourself. The most useful answer is that cloud computing certainly can be acceptably secure. But if customers don't feel confident about making an informed choice, they should seek out advice. But certainly, we shouldn't deny ourselves the cost savings, the power, flexibility, portability, and convenience of cloud computing solutions just because of a vague feeling that cloud isn't safe.